Hey YouTube, in this video I'm going to be doing a overview of all the type of graphics cards that I have, or my actual PC setup, because I know there were some couple of people that were asking me to do a video on this in my video where I did the unboxing on the Nitro, which was this guy right here. So this was the latest graphics card that I picked up, so this one was on super clearance sale. I know a lot of people on Reddit were talking about grabbing one of these because they couldn't find either the reference 480 or they didn't want the reference 480, and they couldn't get a hold of any of the AIB partner cards because none of them were available for some reason. I don't really know. I don't really understand what the problem is with that. I kind of wish that there would be some news released from Sapphire or XFX or whoever, or Power Color, or even Asus and those guys. So as you can see, so these are the graphics cards are actually in here except for the ones that I'm actually using. Like the Nitro is not in here, it's an empty box because I am using that one in my main PC with this triple monitor setup here, with all my consoles combined with it. And then I've got the 480 in my other desktop computer, the one that I do my benchmarking and stuff on. So those wondering, so here's the Asus Matrix Platinum box. What's funny is if you look at this, it's like this is the biggest box, but it's the weakest graphics card of the bunch. So this is GCN 1.0. I'll just do a little, like a rundown here. One thing I like about this box, the ROG box, is that you can lift this thing up and then you can see like all this info, and then you can see the graphics card down there. It's pretty awesome. So the Asus Matrix Platinum, very reflective. So that's the Matrix Platinum. Has this handle, you can like carry it, it's pretty epic. You can like haul this off, I don't know. Okay, so that's the GCN 1.0. Then you got GCN 2.0, Hawaii. I went with Power Color because I was impressed that they had such cheap, but yet very good cooler. Although the fans were a little bit too loud for my take, that was the only problem with this. But it's high wattage GPU. This was probably AMD's worst GPU ever made in terms of the power consumption. This is the 290X. 390X is actually worse. It's higher performing, but it's worse because it's like even more power consumption. It's essentially a super overclocked 290X with better memory, with Hynix memory that runs at 1500 instead of the, I think it was 1250, but this one was overclocked 1350, this particular one. So PCS Plus 290X, very nice. GCN 2.0, it brought us no more crossfire bridges with this graphics card and anything moving forward. So whereas that guy had the old crossfire bridge, if you want to crossfire him, this guy does not have that problem, so really nice. But high power consumption. It's a little bit noisy too. Next, moving on, we have the 3.0 Fiji. So this was last year's model. This is the R9 Fury Tri-X. This is still currently my favorite graphics card ever. It's so quiet, and it uses less power than Hawaii. It's less power, less heat. Essentially, it uses the same kind of power consumption as a 980 Ti. It's just a little bit slower. So, but we'll see. With DX12, I think that this card will age better than the 980 Ti. I think we're going to start seeing the 980 Ti get that NVIDIA nerf because of Pascal mainly. So those of you who bought 980 Ti's recently, I'm sorry because your card is a lot weaker than a 1070. And it's probably just going to get weaker. Kind of like Captain Ginyu. When he stole Goku's body and he powering up and he's getting weaker. Anyway, that was kind of a tangent. But anyway, here's the Nitro. So I can actually do crossfire for Fury. I can crossfire my Nitro, which is factory overclocked to 1050. This one's only 1000, or maybe it was 1040. Yeah, this was a 1000. This one's a little bit louder because it is overvolted from factory to achieve that 1050, but it's still really quiet. It's still much quieter than the Power Color 290X. It's essentially the same amount of noise as the Matrix Platinum. Although the Matrix Platinum was probably the quietest 7970 ever. And then finally we move on to the Polaris. So this is GCN 4.0. This card really tackled, it was AMD's attempt to tackle the power consumption problems that GCN has inherent to it, which is quite a challenging thing to do. But this one's the XFX one because it has a backplate, really good. This is the Triple X edition, so the one that like the boost clock is 1288. So yeah, that's the current one. So those wondering about the computer. So this is just basically what I use. I use a Logitech, I think it's a G110 or no, G600, because I play Final Fantasy 14 and occasionally some other MMOs, so I use that for the macros. And then we've got the not Logitech, we have the Cooler Master Quickfire, and I like it because it combines the home and all that stuff with the numeric keypad. You just turn the numlock off if you want to use the arrow keys and stuff. So it's really nice, short form factor. This is actually very popular. People wondering why you don't have a full-size keyboard. Well, people in Asia typically prefer this. Like, I've seen a lot of Japanese gamers use this style of keyboard, or they even have one that doesn't even have the numeric pad and have it off to the side. Because essentially you get a much, like, this hand and this hand are closer, like when you're playing games. You don't have like this weird where the keyboard's like hanging way over there. But anyway, that's what I use. And then the case I'm using is the Cooler Master 600T. This is my favorite case ever because essentially it's a mid-sized case, but it's very long and wide. It's not super tall, but it is relatively tall compared to most other cases. So we'll just go over real quick on the what's in here. So I gotta move some stuff here. Gotta move the side here. So I am someone who prefers the side panel like this because you get better airflow, especially if you're using an open air cooled, open air flow GPU like the Nitro in there. You can see the Nitro Fury is in there right now with the Noctua NHD14, massive heatsink cooling, Haswell i7. This the particular one is the 4770K overclocked to 4.4. So essentially it's a 4790K. I've been using that since 2013, so this computer is a little more than 3 years old now. We can open it up. Oh, and I love these handles that Corsair uses. Makes opening up the case really easy, there's no screws or anything. Set that over to the side. We can look in here. So we got a Blu-ray burner. Yes, I know, I almost never use it, but I have one. And then we've got like hard drives and stuff. And the SSD, and then I have an 850 Corsair, an RM850. So the fan doesn't even spin unless it's like, I don't know, it never spins. Even though I'm running like high wattage GPU, it never spins. But I've seen it spin on startup. You can see there's the Fury and the cooler. Not a whole lot going on in here. I got 16 gigs of Intel Extreme Masters memory. That's just 1600 megahertz RAM. RAM barely makes a difference. Yeah, that's basically the main computer. So this is the one, like if you guys see me live streaming a PS4 game or whatever, this is the one that's powering that stream. And those wondering like why I'm not using Crossfire, because right now I'm using so many capture cards for my gaming consoles. So I can't really fit the other Fury in here, but later on what I'll probably do when I upgrade to Zen, or maybe later if there's demand for it, if I really need the performance boost from the second graphics card, I'll probably move to a USB based Elgato game capture or something where I don't have to use the AverMedia cards in here. So I'll probably reduce this to just one AverMedia and have one external card. So then I'll be able to run my second GPU, my second Fury. So anyway, that's the main computer. So if we go look at the second computer here. So this one is the backup, or this is the one that I use for like benchmarking. So this one currently has the RX 480 in it. So this one is the Cooler Master Scout 2. The other thing too is this is the one that I take to LAN events because it does have the handle. So it's easy to carry. I like to call this my AMD desktop because this one has the AMD FX 8350 overclocked to 4.7. So essentially it's a FX 9590. So it's got the window on the side there. But again, I have the air vents because I strongly believe that if you want to maintain good temperatures inside your computer and you want to run an open air cooler rather than a reference blower style cooler, then I really strongly like the idea of having the air vents like that. It just gets better air to the GPU and it reduces the ambient temperatures. So in here we've got, again, I've got a DVD burner in here. never use it. Then I have a hard drive tray that I took out just to improve the airflow. Since this is a benchmarking computer, I don't really need that, so I just got it out of the way. It doesn't really matter. I could put it back in, but I am using the blower style RX 480. So this is the one from XFX. You can see single 6-pin. The motherboard is a Crosshair 5 Formula Z. So it's the one meant for the 8350, essentially. And you can see, again, I'm using the Noctua NH D14. It is able to cool a 9590 perfectly fine. You can even look it up on Noctua's website. It can cool a 220 watt TDP CPU. They even say it on the website. Those fans are spinning really slow. And then we've got, let's see, turn that light on. There's like there's a fan from the case that like lights up. So the 480 in there, and then I have like a Wi-Fi, Asus Wi-Fi card in there. And then, although I'm not even using the Wi-Fi, because I do have the RJ45, but we've got an XFX 850 watt silver. It's like 80 plus silver. I think my Corsair one over there was like a gold, 80 gold. This one's 80 silver, so this one's a little bit older. But again, it's a Seasonic power supply with the XFX brand. There's the Radeon right there lighting up. So anyway, guys, that's basically it. That's my setup. This one's used for benchmarking and LAN events. And it's AMD CPU and it works fine. So anyway, that was my, for my monitors and stuff. You can see real quick, I am using, right here, we have a Gambia's full-size mechanical keyboard. This one is Cherry MX Blue. You can hear the clickiness of it. And I am using a really ghetto old Best Buy mat on this computer. But I don't really care because this is the computer that I use for benchmarking, and like I'll game on it from time to time, but not so often. And then I'm using the Gambia's gaming mouse. It's a pretty nice mouse, but I don't like, it's kind of got like sharp edges. Like I prefer the Logitech one that I have got. So for the monitors, I've got triple monitors set up. So I'm using this one over here is a BenQ, a VA panel. This is the model number is GW2265. So it's a 60 hertz monitor, but I don't use it unless I'm using Eyefinity. But it's VA, so it has a lot of ghosting. Like the response time on it is really lousy, so kind of disappointing. I was expecting it to be a little bit better, but it's BenQ, so it's a pretty good quality brand. Also, I'm not a big fan of the anti-glare look to it. It's kind of like, it's not reflective, but it's not as matte finish as my other monitors. I got another one on this side. So I've got two of these BenQs. And then I've got this AOC. If you saw my recent unboxing video and review, this is the AOC FreeSync monitor. This is probably my favorite monitor I've ever purchased because the color reproduction on this is so good. This particular model number is the G2260VWQ6. I did a review and unboxing video on this monitor. So it's a FreeSync monitor, and it is a 22-inch monitor. If you're someone like me who doesn't have a whole lot of space, you can see I've got these on a Ergotech stand. Yeah. 22-inch, triple 22-inch, 1080p. This one's 75 hertz monitor with a FreeSync range of 35 to 75 hertz. That's a really nice range. And it was only 120 bucks. So, like, super good deal, man. That's the reason why, like, I don't understand all the G-Sync hype when the FreeSync implementations are so much more affordable. But anyway, if I wanted to go to a next monitor up, it's probably going to be 4K. Because if I want to use 1440p, what I do is I use VSR to downsample and run the games at 1440p. And at 22-inch, it works fine. You can even technically you can use 1440p on VSR like all the time, unless you have like eye strain problems or something. But anyway, and then on the main computer, I have the same monitor in the middle. Again, I have the AOC monitor. This time I'm using the XFX Tristan because it's got the audio stuff, but I never use it, and it's got like two USB. It's got a USB hub. So yeah, it's got the XFX Tristan. So again, triple monitors. So these are my old Asus VE22. Again, all these monitors are 22-inch monitors. My AOCs are the DisplayPort monitors. The rest of them, I've got them all connected on DVI, and those wiring, I just use my DVI adapters. I did a video on that as well. So I've got my Audio Technica AT2020 with the pop filter on the stand. So that's pretty much it. For the consoles, we've got the PlayStation 3. I almost never use it anymore. It's really old. The PS4 and the Wii U. These are used for live streaming PS4 and Wii U games with this thing via the capture cards. And if I want to play on the console, I just switch the input to HDMI on my Asus monitor. It's got built-in speakers, so it works fine. So again, 22-inch, 1080p. This is pretty much good to go if you're a live streamer, because you're most likely going to be running your game at 1080p anyway, because you have to sample it or downscale it to 720p to stream it to everyone anyway. So anyway, guys, that was my setup. Hope you enjoyed that video. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions on like recommendation, hardware, or any of that kind of stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.